Hi, welcome to Storage Developer Conference SDC 21 India. Because of the pandemic, this year also we are doing as a virtual conference. My name is Ravikiran Gumaluri. I work for Micron Technology. Today I'm going to talk about CXL 2.0 and memory solutions. Let's talk about agenda for today. I'll recap what is CXL, what is CXL 1.1 and 1.0, some of the protocols that CXL 1.1 supports, and some of the memory models that CXL 1.1 supports. I have given a brief intro on CXL 1.1 and memory solution in SDC 2020. I'll provide the link in subsequent slides. I'll talk about some of the important features that are there in CXL 2.0, and I'll touch upon some of the important features like switching, memory pooling, hot plug support, persistent memory support. Finally, I'll talk about summarizing all the feature sets that are added into CXL 2.0 and some of the use cases associated with these features. Let's talk about what is CXL. Compute Express Link is an open industry standard interconnect offering high bandwidth, low latency connectivity between host processor and devices. It is designed to address the growing high performance computational workloads by supporting heterogeneous processing in memory systems. It does this by enabling coherency and memory semantics on top of PCIe Express 5.0 based IO semantics. The existing PCIe interconnects have lots of challenges. Like the industry is facing some of the challenges with the existing interconnects in driving demands for faster data processing and next generation data center performance, increasing demands for heterogeneous computing and server disaggregation. I'll talk about how CXL.0 will help us to have a memory expansion and do this server disaggregation problem to solve. There's a lot of need for increased memory capacity and bandwidth. I'll also talk about how CXL 2.0 will bring in memory expansion and server disaggregation. We'll talk about those things, how CXL is going to solve these challenges. And finally, there is a lack of open industry standard to address next generation interconnect challenges. CXL is an open industry standard. And as I said, it is a coherent interface with low latency, and it also eases burden for cache coherent interface designs. I have talked about CXL 1.1 and memory solution in SDC India 2020. I have provided the link here for reference. Let's talk about CXL protocol. The CXL transaction layer is comprised of 3 dynamically multiplexed subprotocols on a single link. As I said, CXL uses PCIe 5.0 as a low-level layer. And on top of that, the transaction layer has 3 important protocols. Basically, CXL.io, which is used for device discovery, device configuration, initialization, interrupts, DMA, and IO virtualization. This is similar to like a PCIe device. Let's talk about CXL.cache protocol. CXL.cache protocol enables device access to processor memory. As I said, in the right-hand side, CXL device has a cache and the host processor has processing unit like CPU cores and a coherent fabric which makes sure that there is a coherency maintained across the CPU core. We have a host memory attached to the host processor. When we talk about a coherency managed between host processor and CXL device, the coherent fabric on the host processor and the cache inside the CXL device are in a coherent manner. What does that mean? Whenever a processor, an application running inside the processor is trying to update a value, the updated value in a coherent manner is visible to the accelerator. Or whenever an accelerator is modifying something in the host memory by caching the data inside the device, with the coherent manner, this updated data from the accelerator can be seen by the host application. How does this going to work out in a normal PCI world? In the PCI world, we cannot do cache coherent transfers. The data has to be moved from host processor to your CXL device, or sorry, the device, and then you have to compute their accelerated device, and then you have to return back the accelerated data back to the host processor for getting an updated value. Meanwhile, the application has to flush its caches and get it the updated value for the host memory. So CXL reduces all these burdens, and it is in a coherent fabric manner. When we have coherent, the applications can see the latest value and even the accelerator can see the latest value. There is no requirement of data movement from the host memory to the CXL device. Let's talk about CXL.memory. This helps us to enable processor access to the device attached memory. If a CXL device has a memory attached to it, now for the host processor, it looks like a memory expansion, like an expansion RAM. It can start allocating inside the CXL device memory, and then it can provide the pointer to the accelerator. So in this way, we can do a memory expansion model. And if the host processor has CPUs and tightly coupled memory to it, and we can also have an accelerator tightly coupled memory to it. Now you can see, the host can see the memory attached to the CXL device, and CXL device can also see the host attached memory with the CXL.cache. So these three protocols are tightly integrated inside the transaction layer in order to support the coherency and the device detection and also the memory expansion model. Let's talk about different CXL models. According to the usage, the CXL model has been divided in three types: type 1, type 2, and type 3. The type 1 devices are similar to like an accelerator or a caching device, where an accelerator consists of a cache, which can be coherent to your host CPU caches. And the accelerator can cache the sum of the data which is there in the host memory. So CXL.io enables us actually to discover the device and like a PCIe protocol, and it does all the configuration, management, everything. And CXL.cache protocol helps us to make the coherency maintained across this CXL domain. So some of the examples for this accelerators and caching devices are SmartNICs, where you can bring the data over the network and it can work on data sets which are there in the host memory by caching those things. And the application sitting inside the host processors can really see the updated data values coming from the external world and an accelerator. Let's talk about the type 2. Type 2 model is like it has a cache and it has the CXL devices has its own cache and its own local memory. Now, how does this help? It can help us to have the cache associated with the accelerator to be a coherent manner to the host coherent fabric. And also the memory which is associated with an accelerator can be looked like an expansion RAM from the host. So they can have their own local cache and local memory. And this cache is coherent to each other with the host processor fabric, and the memory can be used like a memory expansion model. So the accelerator can compute into its local memory and provide the statistics to the application sitting inside the host. And similarly, the application residing in the host can pass on a pointer which is allocated in the accelerator memory for the accelerating the compute or accelerating or doing a different compute there. So in this way, we can have CXL.io for device configuration and discovery, and the CXL.cache helps us to maintain the cache coherency between the host processors and the CXL accelerator. CXL.mem helps us to do a memory expansion model, expose the local memory of the accelerator to the host processor domain. Let's talk about the type 3, which is like a memory expansion model, where you have CXL.io for discovery and configuration, and CXL.memory helps us to actually do a memory expansion model. Some of the use cases with type 3 are memory bandwidth expansion, memory capacity expansion, and storage class memory attached to the CXL devices that helps us to do a memory expansion model. So in all these things, if you see that CXL.io is mandatory, the other things are optional. For CXL type 1 devices, CXL.cache is introduced. For type 2, you have cache and memory both introduced. And for CXL type 3, you have CXL.memory, which is attached to CXL.io protocol. Till now, we talked about CXL 1.1, different protocols and different CXL models. Let's talk about some of the features that are introduced in CXL 2.0. CXL 2.0 is fully backward compatible with CXL 1.1 and 1.0, and it also introduces some of the important features like switching and pooling. I'll talk about in the coming slides like how switching, pooling, hot plug, fabric manager plays a major role in memory resource disaggregation. in hyperscalers. So as one of the important features I'm touching about, switching and memory pooling is been supported in CXL 2.0. Hotplex support is added into CXL 2.0, which helps us to do a memory offline and online dynamically according to the workloads. And Fabric Manager APIs, which are being exposed to the host software so that they can configure and then manage the resources dynamically. There is a persistent memory support that is added in CXL 2.0. I'll talk about some of the PMEM or persistent memory devices and how the CXL enables the persistent memory support in 2.0. Security is a key feature. It also helps us to make the device more secure. So CXL 2.0 introduces security. Built-in compliance and interop programs, this helps us to do an interop between the host and the device modules. And these compliance programs helps us to make sure that we are aligned to the particular spec. Let's talk about some of the features that 2.0 is supporting. CXL PCIe endpoint. CXL device to be discovered as PCIe endpoint. Support for CXL 1.1 devices directly connected to the root port or downstream switch port. So this enables the CXL devices to be discovered like a PCIe endpoints. Switching. Single level of switching with multiple virtual hierarchies. I'll talk about this later, but single level switching is supported in CXL 2.0. And it also helps us to do memory, CXL.memory helps us to do a memory fan out and pooling with interleaving. CXL.cache is directly routed between CPU and devices with a single caching device within a hierarchy. Downstream ports must be capable of being PCIe. So switch makes sure that the device attached to the switches can be an expansion model for the CXL domain. Resource pooling. Memory pooling for type 3 devices, multiple logical devices, single logical devices can be pooled across 16 virtual hierarchies. I'll talk about what is memory pooling and how the infrastructure in CXL 2.0 helps us to do the pooling in a dynamic fashion. I'll talk about it. CXL.cache and CXL.mem are being enhanced to support persistence model, especially when I talk about global persistence flash. Some command sets are added to the CXL.cache and mem to make sure that persistence is there in CXL domain. And we can support some of the storage class memories with this support. Managed hot plug, this helps us to do the dynamic offlining and onlining of the memory. Some of the functional level reset scope clarification has been done. And this also helps us to have expansion of the memory in a memory pooled manner. Security, authentication and encryption have been added, and this helps us to make sure that device is more secure. Software infrastructure and ACPI and UEFI ECNs to cover notifications and managements of CXL ports. And finally, important one is multi-host or memory pooled CXL switch configuration and management has been enabled in CXL 2.0. This helps us to manage the CXL devices in a disaggregated manner. And finally, what we are talking about is CXL 2.0 is fully compatible. What does that mean? We'll talk about later. Yep. So we are coming and to CXL 2.0, and we are saying the first statement as it is backward compatible with CXL 1.1 and 1.0. What does that mean? When a CPU device connectivity, the CPU is a CXL 1.x, either it might be 1.0 or 1.1, and the endpoint is CXL 1.x. They both interop at CXL 1.x. When the CXL device is CPU 2.0, the CPU endpoint is 2.0, and our host is CPU 1.x. They both interop at CXL 1.x. When we connect a PCIe device to CPU 1.x host, then it detects as a PCIe device. So CXL 2.0 endpoints needs to support both RCI EP and EP modes. When we talk about CPU, the host as CXL 2.0 compliant, then if the EP is CXL 1.1 or 1.0, then they both interop at CXL 1.x. When the endpoint is CXL 2.0, they both interop at CXL 2.0. When the endpoint is a PCIe endpoint, they come back, the endpoint is detected as a PCIe endpoint. So for this, CXL 2.0 CPU also need to be bimodal for backward compatibility. We talked about CPU, host CPU being supported as 1.x or 2.0. Let's talk about CXL 2.0 switch connectivity. When CPU supports CXL 2.0, then only we can connect a switch. Only CXL 2.0 can support CXL switch connecting to the host. Since switch definition is with CXL 2.0, the platform requirement is upstream port to be CXL 2.0 compliant. The downstream port for the switch is CXL device. It can be CXL 1.1 device or 1.0 device, or it can be CXL 2.0 device. So it detects according to the device capabilities, the link will be established as CXL 1.x or CXL 2.0. If the downstream port is a PCIe EP, then the device is detected like a PCIe device. If the downstream is a CXL switch, currently, as I said, it is a single level switching which is supported. So connecting a switch on top of a switch is not supported as such in CXL. As we're talking about switching, let's talk about how switching enables us to connect multiple devices. CXL 2.0 introduces switching where you can connect multiple CXL devices to the host. As shown in the figure on the left-hand side, we have connected devices D1, D2, D3, D4 to the host by doing an expansion model with CXL 2.0 switch. As I said, it is a single level switching which is there in CXL 2.0. So CXL 2.0 switches enables us to connect more number of CXL devices. It introduces latency, but we can have more number of devices attached to it. As you can see on the right-hand side, you can have multiple switches connected in a single hierarchy to expand more number of devices. What is CXL memory pooling? A combination of software, hardware, and protocol enhancements for efficient utilization of hardware resources by enabling dynamic management and allocation of resources. In this example, when we say resources, it is CXL attached memory. So the OS Fabric Manager basically is configured or requested for n number of resources. The hardware, switches, and memory devices has to be supported for this memory pooling, and the protocols like CXL.mem and CXL.cache has to be enhanced for efficient utilization of these hardware resources. So you have multiple resources connected to multiple hosts. The CXL switch can enable connecting multiple hosts with multiple devices. By doing a proper disaggregation of these resources by configuring the Fabric Manager request from the host and also allocating these devices dynamically, we can control the workloads. This is called somewhat memory pooling. I'll briefly touch upon what are the benefits of this CXL memory pooling. Efficient utilization of memory resources within a system. We'll talk about hyperscalers in a rack, data center rack systems, how this feature will help us to do an effective utilization of memory resources. Dynamic allocation, deallocation of memory resources. This is possible according to the workloads. We can do a dynamic allocation and deallocation of the memory resources. So this reduces the total cost of ownership. So the figure left-hand side shows up multiple hosts. CXL 2.0 switch can connect. Upstream ports are multiple hosts, H1, H2, H3, H4, so on. And you have multiple devices connected to CXL 2.0 switch as a downstream ports, that is D1, D2, D3, D4, so on. So in this given figure, the host H1 has been associated with two memory resources, which are single logical devices. This device is seen to the host like a single logical device. Whenever the host H1 is booting up, it will show up the device D2 and D3 as shown up its own memory resources by the Fabric Manager. And the host has the memories, which are D2, D3 as a memory expansion devices. These two devices are single logical devices. When we talk about how this can be done is the host H1 with an open interface API supported in Fabric Manager can be exposed to the host software where you can ask for particular resources to the Memory Fabric Manager. According to the free pool, which is managed by the Fabric Manager, the resources are attached to the host H1. In this case, D2, D3 are attached to H1 and D1 is attached to H2 and D4 is attached to H3. Similarly, on the right-hand side, you can see that a device is split into multiple logical devices. You can see there are multiple logical partitions that has been happened in device D1, D2, D3, and D4. All these logical partitions can be attached to a host, or some of these partitions can be attached to one host and some to the other host. As shown in the example, the resource D1 is being assigned to H1 and the resource D2, some of the logical blocks have been assigned to H1 and some to H3. Similarly for D3 and D4. The Fabric Manager manages basically how many logical partitions has been done on a given device and how to associate these logical devices to given host. Let's see pooling from operating system on the host or VMM, which is sitting inside like a guest host in the host. When a host H1 is trying to boot up with an operating system or it has a guest OS with a VMM environment, it sees the devices D2, D3 as a memory devices, and it can attach these devices into its memory pool. So it can start allocating from D2 or D3. This can be requested to a particular Fabric Manager through the open API system available exposed to the software on the H1, host H1. And the free resources can be associated according to the availability in the free pool. The D2, D3 resources can be associated with H1 here. Similarly, when the host H1 is booting on the right-hand side with multi-logical devices, different partitions from different logical devices can be attached to a host H1. Let's talk about hot plug support. In CXL 2.0 supports managed hot plug. What does that mean? Managed hot remove and managed hot add are added to CXL 2.0. Request host to remove device D3 from H1. The example on the left-hand side shows you how we can do a managed hot remove, which is offlining a particular memory from the system hyperscaler system rack. The example what we are talking about is the host H1 and a device D3. Request host to remove a device D3 from H1. Host H1 queries traffic from D3 and indicates device is safe to remove. Device D3 is removed, or we can do offlining of this memory from H1 and add it to the free resource pool. This is how we can do a managed hot remove. And if you want to do a managed hot add, the host H2 requests a device Fabric Manager assigning D3 through switch and initiates a hot add flow. Device D3 is added to the host H2. Normal traffic flow to and from to the device D3 as a part of H2 can be enabled by managed hot add. So hot plug gives us the flexibility to dynamically add or remove a device from a CXL domain. This helps us according to the workload needs. We can do dynamically offline one memory resource and attach it to a particular host which has a more requirement of workloads. So in this way, dynamically, we can do switching of a particular memory device, and you can add a device to the another host. So hot plug helps us to do a dynamic configuration of these resources. Let's talk about persistent memory. Persistent memory is basically a domain, you can say, which fills the gap between the memory and storage. Memory is basically a DRAM, is used to do a faster processing, and it is a byte addressable, and it has low capacity, but you can have a faster, low latency and faster memory access. But when we talked about storage, storage is non-volatile, high capacity, but with high latencies. So there is a gap between a memory and storage devices. The persistent memory basically bridges the gap between storage and memory devices. CXL 2.0 supports persistent memory by adding some of the protocols are enhanced to support persistent memory. Persistent memory is byte addressable and it has huge capacity when compared with DRAM, and it has good lower latencies when compared with storage. It's a mix of combination of a memory and storage, and it fits the gap between the memory and storage devices. Let's talk about the PMEM, what we call as persistent memory, how it can be compared with NVMe, which is a block storage memory. Characteristics and benefits of persistent memory. It's a byte addressable, whereas NVMe is a block addressable. Generally low latencies compared to SSDs, and it is cacheable. The PMEM is cacheable, whereas NVMe is uncached. Data persists across power loss versus DRAM. DRAM loses its content because it's volatile. Generally larger capacity when compared with DRAM. These are the critical characteristics that PMEM has, which enables us to have a byte addressable, low latency, high capacity memory attached to the CXL devices. Many workloads really benefit from the PMEM model. Traditional database, accelerated locking, generaling, instant recovery. I have talked about some of the use cases with PMEM with CXL 1.1 in my earlier talk, which also talks about key value store, Redis, and MongoDB kind of databases, how they can use this memory and storage paradigm with PMEM. It also helps us in analytics and AI/ML use cases, storage for caching and tiering, and HPC for reduced checkpointing overheads. CXL 2.0 introduced PMEM support with global persist flash. PMEM aware applications expects that completed writes are made persistent. When you have an application sitting inside the host processor, it expects that whenever it has been written, the caches have been flushed and the data is persistent. In reality, the write data may be held in processor CXL device caches or memory device write buffers for performance reasons. Upon an event such as sudden power loss, the systems need to push the data to persistent domain in order to keep the promise. The GPF, Global Persist Flush, is a global event across cache coherency domain controlled by host, enables coordination of flush activity between the host and CXL domain. Two phases of CXL flow with a barrier between the two phases helps us to do this data persist. Host asks CXL device to stop injecting new traffic and flush its caches. Device acts for this. Host asks each CXL device to push data in local buffers to persist domain, and device acts for this. If error or timeout detected in phase 1, the host propagates error flags to each device during phase 2, so PMEM device can log dirty shutdown events. So this is an important feature that has been added in CXL 2.0 in order to support the PMEM devices with CXL. Security is added to CXL 2.0 as we are discussing the encryption and authentication for all the three protocols have been added. So after the root complex till the device, the data has been encrypted and the decrypted at the device level. So the data is protected throughout the CXL domain. So this is one of the important features which enables the CXL devices in a secure mode. Let's briefly summarize some of the important benefits that CXL 2.0 features are introducing. Benefits of switching. Add more devices to CXL domain. You can expand more number of CXL devices by having a switch. Of course, switch introduces latency, but it is a trade-off. Benefits of memory pooling. Effective utilization of memory resources. The host, according to its workload needs, can ask the fabric about having more number of memory resources attached to it. It can request the fabric, and fabric can see from the free memory pool and can attach those devices to this workloads or the host where it requires more memory. So dynamically you can switch off or switch on a memory, and you can associate these memory resources to the host. So CXL memory pooling is a very important feature. This is added to CXL 2.0, which makes the CXL domain disaggregated. effective utilization of memory resources within a system. We talked about dynamic allocation and deallocation of memory resources with hot plug support and memory pooling, and it reduces the total cost of ownership and saving. And we also talked about hot plug support. You can attach, detach memory devices on a need basis according to the workloads. And the benefits of Fabric Manager, this controls and configures the supporting pooling applications in order to have associated with memory devices. So let's talk about CXL 1.1 use cases, which we talked earlier. CXL 1.1 enables us to connect a host with a device in a direct fashion, where the device can be detected as a memory expansion device, or it can be a cacheable device, so that the operations can be interrupted in a coherent manner, or you can do a memory expansion model. CXL 2.0 introduces switching, memory pooling, hot plug support, and Fabric Manager API support. This helps us in a data center for enabling a racked systems to scale their memory devices, compute devices, and network storage. As shown in figure, you can attach more number of memory devices. So you are disaggregating the memory resources. You can connect a rack of memory devices, and you can associate them with the host processors according to your workload needs. The Fabric Manager API helps us to actually request memory resources and associate those memory resources to the given host. And the hot plug feature will help us to dynamically offline the memory and online the memory according to the workload needs. So this involves a lot of scaling from the existing interconnects like PCIe in order to come into the coherent Fabric manner in order to support the scaling of compute, memory, and network. CXL 2.0 helps us to enable a data centers or hyperscalers with having more resources attached to it. You can manage those resources, disaggregate those resources according to the memory requirements of the workloads. So CXL 2.0 plays a very crucial role going forward in data centers and hyperscalers. Hope you have understood the CXL 2.0 main features and benefits. Some of these references are taken from the resource library from the Computex Express link. Please take a moment to rate this session. Your feedback is very important to us, and thank you for attending SDC 21. Stay safe. Thank you.